This is how I learned the understanding of dopamine in our brain to make me hundreds of millions of dollars. Look, my name is Simon Beard. My wife and I built Culture Kings from a market store to a $600 million brand with no loans, no investors. The key thing was we spent $1 million on personal development on ourselves. These are some of the lessons that we learned and how we applied them. One of the best investments I did was learning from neuroscientists because they understood how the brain worked, and this broken down to me allowed me to go from a first principles reasoning and build up the fundamental truths on how to create a truly global brand. The first one, we get dopamine in our brain is a feeling of progress. It's the biggest motivator. It causes us to take action. Now, the best way to understand this is to go back to caveman times, right? When we were a caveman, we would get dopamine in our brain for two things. One, for food, because we could eat so we could survive. Two, so we'd have sex so we'd procreate, the species would live on. That's the only two things we would hunt down and progress after. In today's world, it's changed a little bit, but dopamine is still our biggest driver. It's the software underneath. This is how I understood it, to use it for our customers, our team, and then most importantly on myself. For our customers, I would use dopamine of, look, dopamine is entertainment. It's that feeling of that excitement of progress. This is why dopamine is the reason we get stuck in the TikTok feed and just keep scrolling through videos. Or it's the reason we'll watch Netflix, or the reason we'll eat the sugary snack is because it releases dopamine. This is so much of our motivator of what we're doing is caused by just this chemical underneath of dopamine. My understanding of it though was like, how do I create this entertainment, this gamification, taking from one of the biggest industries, gambling, which is just purely a dopamine hit. The same way when we're scrolling through Instagram and we keep getting that dopamine hit, this feeling of progress, is the same reason we're hitting on the poker machines going 1, 2, 4 pyramids. It's that feeling of progress. The problem is you're never gonna get the 7 pyramids, or you're never gonna get to the end of the Instagram feed. Dopamine is what's causing us to focus, to lock in, to sit there for hours and hours. Our reason was like, how do we create the store to create this dopamine? Because shopping is dopamine. It's this feeling of progress. It's the feeling of hunt. This is why we create hype. Nike do this the best through the releases and the Jordans. You know, how we create this anticipation, this hunt. People don't value what they don't fight for. Dopamine, this understanding principle was built in every part of the gamification, the sales process, the store design, is that understanding this from a fundamental reason is this is what creates entertainment. 2, staff and driving goals. One of the biggest things is that staff need this dopamine hit constantly at work. The how you do that is you have to set a goal that's right on the border of being challenged, yet they can achieve it. That is an art in itself. But then you need this constant feedback, either through charts, dashboard, or best of all, personal feedback that they feel they're making that progress. They're getting that dopamine hit, the same as playing a video game, the same as playing the poker machine, of that feeling of progress towards it. The second you don't have those clear goals, you don't have those outcomes, don't sense a purpose, this is when you see that energy drop. This is when you see them go next, rubber stamp shit. This is when they do the homer into the bush, not my job. That is when there isn't this dopamine in the system. Your job as the entrepreneur CEO is to create that with your team. That is how you're gonna unlock this motivation in them. And number 3, most importantly for yourself, understand that your brain is always gonna go for certainty and comfort. It's always gonna go for the easy option. That's why you go for the sugary snack or the pack of chips, or you to watch Netflix or pull out your phone every 2 seconds and flick through Instagram or TikTok, is because that's that easy dopamine hit. You have to set up dopamine that attaches to your long-term goals. This is where you have to set up your own reward mechanism. And this is where, for myself, I did it with stuff like ice bath, Wim Hof breathing, fitness, as well as working and rewarding myself with clear outcomes and that feeling of progress, working that I felt that progress was towards my long-term vision rather than just going for the easy option. And you have to set up your life and the guardrails around that to make sure you're not just taking those easy dopamine hits, because Dopamine is a fucking drug. And the more you go for that easy option, the more it's just putting you back to the baseline. If you want to find out more of this, go deep down the Andrew Huberman breakdown of dopamine. But look in your business, what is the ways that you could set this up for your customers, your teammates, and yourself to experience more positive dopamine in their experience?